Urban Soul. In the beginning, there was morning radio.
I've never seen anything like this.
But now there is Radio Generations, the People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey.
You got it locked.
Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Yes, indeed, it is 1 minute past 6 o'clock. We are so happy to be here. This is Radio Generation, 88.8 in Nairobi, 90.7 in Mombasa, 89.5 in Garissa, and of course, rgk.co.ke all over the world. My name is Bungala Mbuvi.
92.1 kule Malindi, alafu 92.6 kule Lamu. My name is Trisha Wayu, and of course, if you want to follow us on our social media pages, remember it is at Radio Gen KE. That is on Instagram, on TikTok, on X. And if you want to follow on Facebook, it is Radio Generation Kenya.
It is Thursday,
Yes.
and it is the 10th day of July, 2025. What do you have for us as far as the... do we start with the day
A
that we're
special day,
celebrating?
yes, the day that we are remembering.
Uh-huh.
And today, of course, we are remembering a Global Energy Independence Day.
Global Energy Independence Day.
Yes.
Jade. Sounds like a international conglomerate.
Yeah.
All right, so what about it?
This is a day that is observed to promote awareness of alternative, renewable energy sources like solar, wind,
Right.
and geothermal. And it is, of course, it's aimed at reducing reliance on fossil fuels.
Okay, so that means we stop relying on the petroleums, you know, the LPGs.
Yes.
But you know, right now we are so used to them. Can you imagine your life, for example, without LPG?
Kidogo ni ngumu.
Umewahi pika ugali na stima? Mimi nimewahi. Nimewahi.
How was it?
The other day gas ran out in the middle of the night, and we really needed to make ugali.
Yes.
So for the first time I said, you know what, fire it up tuone. We put it on, and now the electric stove.
Yes.
Na ugali ilipikwa.
Well, and basically hata kwa ukiwa chuo, that is what most of these young men
campus.
use. Yes.
Campus, yes.
Campus, kila mtu ako na coil pale.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they usually use for cooking.
Mimi niliona watu wakichemsha githeri
na coil.
stima.
Yes.
Yes. So I guess it will need a mind shift. But then again, do we have the capacity, for instance, here in Africa, to provide electricity to every single house that is sustainable to make ugali? Because you see, us, we are very demanding when it comes to energy. If you go to the West, the only time they use electricity, for example, maybe kwa nyama choma kwa oven.
Yes.
Or because their foods, I find that their foods are very simple. Making something like rice, pasta, it's very simple.
Yeah, simple.
Hapa Kenya, mama anataka kupika chapati. Na amezoea makaa yakiwaka hivi. Unajua?
Yeah.
Sasa huyo kidogo, hata gas, kupika chapati na gas sometimes is just off.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yes,
chapati zinatoka ni kazi jaiva, ziko tu hapo.
So I don't know, but we need a shift either way, because we need to get to a sustainable future.
You know, this also reminds me of the nuclear plant that was meant to be done in Kilifi County. And of course, the residents there, they really brought issues.
Right.
And you know, human rights activists also, they really pushed it out of Kilifi County. And I saw inapelekwa ni Homa Bay.
Yes.
Or something.
I had
Niliona ya imehamishwa kule, walisema wataki.
Siliwa Nyanza imeingia kwa serikali.
So now kule walisema wataki kabisa, because of course they were looking at the impact in the community.
I'm actually trying to look for countries that no longer use nuclear energy, because there are countries that used to use it. Then they cut it off, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. In fact, actually, because of the impact, the effects that it usually has on the people, on the residents, on the living organisms there.
Yeah.
Like, unapata kama ni kwa maji, vile the impact it has on samaki, kule kwa bahari. Ukiangalia pia any other living thing around there, of course, there are some impact. And of course, the handling of it. So the question was, is Kenya ready to handle nuclear?
Yes.
In our country, are we really ready enough in handling a nuclear?
Good question. So a simple Google search will show you countries that, and these are Western countries, what we consider first world, that have never used nuclear and do not even consider it. Yeah. So let me just read it really fast. Australia has never had nuclear power. Austria, Denmark, Estonia, Greece, Ireland, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Norway, Poland, and then Portugal. All right. They do not intend even to start using it. Yes. Now, countries that have phased out the use of nuclear energy include Germany. They shut down its last nuclear power plant in April 2023.
Oh, okay.
That is 2 years ago.
Yes.
Italy voted in a referendum to phase out nuclear power and has decommissioned its plants. Spain also, Sweden, Belgium, Japan, and Lithuania.
Okay. So others are facing it out.
Kama hizi countries. And you know, like the countries I've mentioned up awali, like the very first ones that have decided to never use nuclear energy. Look at a country like Australia. It's an entire continent by itself. Austria, very advanced as far as technology. Advanced,
yes.
Yeah. Denmark, it's a kingdom, also very advanced in terms of power production. Estonia, there's Greece, then there's Ireland. Look at the countries we're mentioning. Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, one of the highest countries in terms of GDP. Malta, Norway. Norway produces so much oil, and guess what? They don't even use it inside the country. They export majority of their oil. And the country of Norway, the kingdom of Norway, actually, when it comes to adopting of electric vehicles, they are top in the world. It is actually cheaper to buy an electric vehicle in Norway than it is to buy an internal combustion engine vehicle like the ones we have here on the roads. Yeah, so why we want to get into nuclear energy, mimi nashindwa kwa sababu gani? We have so much. I was actually watching a documentary like a few days ago about the amount of power we produce here in Kenya.
Is it sufficient? Because the claim is that it's not sufficient for the
we have the
needs,
capacity.
Yeah, for the demand in this country.
Currently, it is obviously not sufficient. However, we have the capacity to produce sufficient from renewable energy alone. Let's start even with we sat here with a gentleman from northern Kenya, right?
Yes.
We sat here with the DG for Wajir.
Yes.
We sat here with Abdullahi Alas. He's an aspirant in Mandera North. And the one thing that those two gentlemen pointed out is the fact that in northern Kenya alone, we have so much solar energy in terms of the amount of sunshine they receive, that it is enough. If we were to harvest it, it would supply the entire country. Right? We have our geothermal sources like Olkaria and so on and so forth.
There are so many.
If we were to harness those ones alone,
it's enough for the country.
It's enough even to export to other countries such as Uganda and Tanzania. Already we are exporting a little bit of energy from Uganda, supplying the western regions na huko.
Importing, actually.
Yeah, we're importing
not exporting. Yes.
Yeah, we are importing it. Tunaomba Uganda wanatusaidia na stima.
Actually.
So if we just focus on that, it would be really good.
Yeah, it's quite
Hii maneno ya nuclear.
Nuclear, watu wa Kilifi walikataa. And I'm telling you, it was a real fight.
If
I used to follow up on the proceedings of what was happening that time, and it really was a fight. Then kutoka huko sasa ndo imepelekwa wapi? I think Homa Bay.
Kama country kama Germany wanasema let's not, like they phased it out and they said, you know what, 2023 hakuna nuclear ingine tunatumia. If Germany, we are talking about Germany here, where they make BMW, and the need for energy there is higher than here in Kenya.
Yes.
We have industries there such as Audi. That's where they make the Porsches and many other vehicles and many other industries as well. Zinatengenezwa huko hivyo na wamesema hawataki kutumia nuclear power anymore. They're just harvesting what they have naturally. Hapa Kenya tunafanya nini?
Tunataka vitu ambazo ni rahisi na vitu ambazo tutapata misaada. You get tupate msaada wa kujenga nuclear plant in our country and so forth.
Kama hapa kidogo tu ka flood kamoja kana to devastate venye kana to devastate. Sembuse tukakuwa na a nuclear situation.
Yes, ajali tu ya nuclear again.
Japan walikuanga na ile ya Fukushima, and that is actually one of the reasons. Forget the nuclear bombing, they were bombed during World War II. Recently Fukushima, that power plant, because of a tsunami, the power plant had a spillover.
Yes.
And they said, you know what, we do not need these kinds of problems. Kama Japan wamejitoa kwa hiyo ngori, who are we as Kenyans?
Because of course the effects za ile kitambo mpaka sasa people are still feeling them. They are still experiencing them.
Yeah. Train ya leo inatupeleka wapi?
Yeah, leo tunaenda to an unknown destination, to this unknown person. What is important is the message, right? And this is what he said, that integration is not the blending of sameness, but the harmony of difference.
Come again.
Integration is not the blending of sameness, but the harmony of difference. And this one is emphasizing on embracing, respecting, and preserving each other's identity, value, culture, while still working together harmoniously. Yes, talking of multiculturalism, coexistence, and also inclusive policy.
Okay.
Yes.
All these philosophers always talk about either elevating yourself to become a better version of yourself, or they want people to love each other, come together, and just live in harmony and cohesion. There's a guy. He's a physicist. He died I think in the either late 90s or early 80s thereabout. He's called Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan was a physicist. Now America sent a probe called Voyager into space. Right now it's out of the solar system. Imetoka kwenye solar system, imeenda kabisa. It is in what we call interstellar space. It's a long story, that one you can Google. But before it went out of range of seeing the Earth, he convinced NASA scientists to just turn the camera one last time towards Earth. Ipige tu picha kabla ijapotea out of
space
vision. Ikapiga picha ya Earth. Then that picture was sent back to Earth. And in a very large mural, let me call it a mural, that very large picture that was sent back to Earth, you could see the Earth was literally a dot in the vastness of the cosmos. Like a small dot like this. And then he said, in that small dot is where everything and everyone we know as far as humanity is concerned has ever lived. He mentioned the kings that started wars, the kings that brought peace. He mentioned the people who invented. He mentioned even the people who were dictators and so on and so forth. And he said all those people
in that one dot
lived in that one dot. And he said that is the only home we will ever know. And we need to take care of it.
Of course.
It was all about just coming together and living in harmony. Imagine in the vastness of space, Patricia, you and I are nothing. If we are being honest about it, in another 100 years, we might not be here. Zindio?
Of course, yeah.
And whatever we shall have done shall either be forgotten or shall be remembered forever.
Remembered. So this is just a call. And even in the situation that we are in our country, of course, I know you have your opinions, you have your ideas. I also have mine.
True.
I know you come from a different culture. I come from a different culture. I know you have your values.
Yeah.
And mi niko na zangu. So it's all about how can we work together, and not me forcing you to start being me.
Yeah.
Actually, the message here is don't force other people to be what you are, but rather work with them in that space they are at.
Exactly. All right.
So let's remember that. Si lazima mtu akae kama wewe. Yeah. Si lazima nikuwe na the same political ideologies like you.
Yes.
But we are in this same country. We can still live together. We can still make our country productive with your different ideologies and with my different ideologies.
Right.
Yes.
All right. It's now 6:15. Let's get into rgk.co.ke. If you haven't opened that website, that is where we will find us live. We are currently actually streaming there, both video and audio. So if you'd like to see what Patricia is wearing today, just get on to rgk.co.ke.
Did you have to say what I'm putting on today?
If you'd like to see,
surely.
If you'd like to see, what is it called? If you'd like to see our very beautiful studio, you can also log on to rgk.co.ke. Utatuona hapo. Yeah. Also, if you'd like to, have an alternative place where you can watch us, we're also live on YouTube. That is Radio Generation. That's the channel on YouTube that you should be looking for. Meanwhile, let's get on to the stories of the day. There's one breaking news that has just been broken by our very own Tanya Wanjiko that was published about 30 minutes ago. And it's about Chief Kathi Sheikh Athman Abdullahim, who has died in Mombasa. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Anyway, it's a very sad moment for the family and friends of Chief Kathi Sheikh Athman. He just passed on, and this is what the story says. Chief Kathi Sheikh Athman Hussein has died barely 2 years after assuming office. His death was announced on Wednesday, July 10th by Jamia Mosque Imam Sheikh Jamaluddin Osman, who confirmed the news through a brief message of condolence. And this is what he said. Indeed, we belong to Allah, and indeed to him we will return. I am saddened to inform you of the passing of our Chief Kathi Sheikh Abdullahim Hussein a while ago in Mombasa, and he shall be buried in Mombasa, according to Osman. Sheikh Abdullahim was appointed Chief Kathi in July 2023, taking over from Sheikh Ahmed Mutar, who retired after serving for 12 years and attaining the mandatory retirement age of 60. The position of Chief Kathi is a public service role under the judiciary and has a mandatory retirement age of 60 years. So the Chief Kathi is equivalent to Chief Justice.
Yes.
Because we know that Muslims have Sharia law.
Yeah.
And, their faith is dictated by Sharia law.
Yes.
And that is why we had that issue just a couple of days ago when, a High Court judge said that inheritance...
The Supreme Court, actually.
Supreme Court, sorry.
Yes.
Walisema inheritance itaenda wapi? Inheritance itaendea watoto wote wa mzee. Whether walizaliwa ndani ya wedlock ama outside wedlock. Yet Sharia law says that cannot happen. Yes. Baba akitaka kupeana anaweza peana kwa hiari yake. Lakini asipofanya hivyo, and in case the father passes on, then by Sharia law the property shall only go to the children that he fathered in wedlock.
Yeah, well, it is something that is quite, I don't know, I don't want to say much about it, but from where I sit, so huyu mtoto ambaye wewe ulitoka ukaenda,
naam,
ukafanya mambo yako akapatikana kule nje, where do you think he should run to?
It's a good question.
Where should that child go?
It's a good question. And I don't know if Muslims adopt. I want to assume they do. So it's also possible to adopt that child. If they do, I don't know, so that they can legitimately...
Or you adopt so that you make him a legitimate in that family.
Yeah. You can agree with your wife. Hey, babe, okay, you know what? I messed up. But now, can we deal with this situation? Or you marry the mother now.
So they become now two. What about now you're married?
Or they become three.
You know, they have a limit of women. Like wives, they should marry. So what if you already have your 4 wives?
Okay.
And then now, bado umeenda, umecheza kule nje. So, then now, this is a child amepatikana.
Right.
And then now, katika sheria inakuambia kwamba huyu kwa sababu wako amepatikana out of wedlock, hafai kupata chochote. Then now, my question always is, like, okay, huyu mtoto si makosa yake. Like, yeye hata hakujua what happened. Yeye amejipata, amezaliwa. Where does he go? Ama where does he run to? Who does he run to?
It's a good question. And I'd like to answer it in this way. Itafika mahali, ama inafaa kufika mahali, there's law, there's Sharia law.
Yes.
Then there's moral law. Wewe tu kama baba, as a man, you know you have fathered outside wedlock. And you know for a fact, unless in a situation whereby the mother of the child hid this child and then
you are not aware. Yes.
You are not aware. That one, I think to some extent we can forgive you. However, you know that you have fathered a child with this woman. Mwachie tu. Tengeneza will. Yesterday we sat here with advocate Joshua Odhiambo, and the one thing he said, he was talking about the law of succession in the Kenyan constitution. And he spoke about why Kenyans need to adopt this whole issue of writing a will. Write a will for your family. Yeah. And especially if you know for a fact that you have a child outside or children outside. Yes. Just write a will, because you know for a fact once you disappear from this earth, things will be very difficult for them.
Things will be difficult for them. But then when you do a will, it could be better.
Yes. But me, I'm also for the option of I'm also for the option of just being open with your wife. Yes, if you've messed up, you've messed up. Own up to your mistake.
Well, I know
it will make a lot of things easy.
Yes. Going
forward, because eventually vitu was natokezea. You can imagine you have left this earth, then now your wife discovered that you were cheating on her. I mean, now she's in mourning, but she's also hating you at the same time.
Because kuna watoto wanaletwa hapo, she's not aware, hajaikuwa na clue.
Forget hata watoto. Yes. Watoto hapa ni by the way. Because even now after you've left, she can remarry and continue with her life. But the fact that she will feel betrayed, that this entire time aliishi na wewe, akakupenda, akadedicate maisha yake kwako, then anakuja kudiscover kumbe wewe wakati ulikuwa unasema unaenda ofisini on weekends, uko unaenda ofisini, you're going to see another family elsewhere. So I am for the idea of men just owning up. I know a lot of people right now are just saying Mbuvi bana nifala.
Mbuvi unajua chenye unaongea kweli?
Ati bwana mwanaume asemangi.
Unajua chenye unaongea kweli?
But we are living in 2025. We are no longer in 1922.
Yesterday I was listening to some clip. Ilikuwa inafanya rounds on social media.
Yes.
Kuna ile jamaa alikuwa anauliza hapa kuna mtu ambaye is okay with only one woman. Watu wote wakasema, alikuwa anauliza akasema, if you know you're okay with that, your one woman is enough for you.
Right.
Put up your end. Yes. Nobody did. Ilikuwa ni congregation tu ya wanaume. Nobody, no one.
All right. So that's a conversation for another day. As far as multiple women in your life are concerned, we'll probably leave it to the drive crew.
Yes,
ama watu wa wind down usiku wa discuss your mambo.
Ours was the legal part of it.
But what I can tell you is that people just need to own up to if you know you're out there and you're listening to me. Na uko na kamtu nje. Kamtoto mahali nje. And you love that child. Own up to it.
Personally, even if you do not love that child and it is your child, you have a responsibility to that child. Yeah. So that now people would stop now just going out and playing games without taking responsibility.
Yeah. To the family and friends and the entire Muslim family of Chief Kathi, that is Sheikh Athman, poleni tena sana, and may his soul rest in peace. All right. So on to another story. This one is equally as sad. Nilikuwa nimeona hapa imeenda wapi tena. There's a boda person who's been arrested. I'm telling you, stories are coming in hot right here on rgk.co.ke. Let me just check out this one. This one is by FIDA. FIDA Kenya demands justice over protest killings and police brutality and sexual violence. Right? A story by Brenda Soki. Now, if I can just read a small excerpt from this one. The Federation of Women Lawyers in Kenya has issued a strong call for justice and accountability following what it describes as widespread state-sponsored violence during recent protests across the country. In a statement released yesterday, the organization condemned the government's brutal crackdown on peaceful demonstrators, including those who participated in the Saba Day event and earlier youth-led protests. Now, the unrest has reportedly claimed the lives of at least 50 people, with many others injured or unaccounted for. FIDA Kenya expressed solidarity with the victims, sending heartfelt condolences to bereaved families and reaffirming that no citizen should lose their life while exercising their right to peaceful protests.
True.
Yeah. So FIDA, of course, coming out strongly. And there are some of the, civil society groups that we expect to speak out on these particular issues. Yeah. And it is sad that people have to lose their lives during this particular period, and even more sad that others are sexually violated during what seems to be, or rather what should have been, a peaceful demo for, fighting for rights and so on and so forth.
That's so unfortunate. It's so unfortunate that we found ourselves here as a country. Our actions, they have landed us where we are right now as a country. So unfortunate, but we just need to we can still sit down, look at what we are doing, look at our actions. Tulisema those small actions. Unajua, like you're hiring a gun, ukiwa peke yako tuseme umehire just 10 of them. Kuna mwingine mahali amehire 50 of them. Kuna mwingine yeye mwenyewe ndiye anaenda kukua gun. All these actions, they are what has brought us where we are right now. And we really need to stop that.
True. I don't know if you've ever had the chance of sitting down with a victim of sexual violence.
Well, I have never.
If you sit down and have a conversation with those people just to understand forget even what they went through, forget even the violence that was meted on them. If you just understand their psychological space where they are in their psychology at that particular time, you will really sympathize with them. These are people who hate even the word intimacy. They don't want to, like, you literally mess their lives completely. There are those who even never get married because that act, kile kitendo cha ndoa, they can't even do it anymore. That's how bad, that is how affected these people become. Some of them, physically, they are so much damaged that they need even surgery just to reconstruct their reproductive organs. Yes, because some of them are probably even gang raped, or in the case of what's his name, Boniface Mwangi, alisema they were using tools on him. Now you can imagine after a situation like that one, you might need to undergo surgery. So if you speak to people who've undergone sexual violence, those are people that you will really, really sympathize with them. And we hope that that never happens again to anybody going forward.
Still on RGK website, there's a story about JKIA that right now they have started upgrading. This is after the post Adani deal. Najua Wakenya walileta shida. Walileta shida sana wakati wa Adani. And of course now the government of course listened.
Right. And
that's why now they are saying now with the capacity that as a country we have, they have now started working on a tight schedule to ensure construction begins before the close of 2025 to do the renovation for JKIA.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, JKIA is our hiyo ndo tu airport yetu ambao tunajua it's the main in our country. So if today things are not working out quite well, like somebody was saying that since JKIA was constructed, was started kitambo mpaka sasa ndio unapita pale hivi unapata there sometimes nilikuwa naona watu wakienda kule mtu anasema kwamba it is even when it rains it's leaking. Ukipita katika hizo pavements unapata zimebomoka. Like even the systems, the other day we were discussing about the systems that we have at JKIA. Like you go to other international airports. Unapata kwamba processes are quick because the systems that are there, they are quick, they are modern. But sisi bado tumebaki na zile systems za kitambo. Our structures, our infrastructure pale pia ni ile ya kitambo. Yes, so it's
the first time I left this country, when I walked into JKIA, I was so amazed. I looked at JKIA and nikasema hapa ndio watu wanakujanga wakitoka.
You are leaving the country.
I was leaving the country.
Yes.
That was the first time I went to the airport inside. Previous years nilikuwa na drop tu watu. Lakini nyingine umeingia ndani unaangalia airport unasema, "Wa, hii ndio airport."
Amazing.
You go to the duty free shops and you're like, "Hey, okay. So this is it, eh? Nice, awesome." Until because we landed in Heathrow from JKIA. And I looked at Heathrow. Nikaanza kuona JKIA ikikaa kama Machakos country bus. On a serious note, nilikuwa naangalia because I was like, wait, where I have come from, I thought it was the bestest of the bestest. Until I landed in Heathrow. And I was like, wow, enye nimetoka ushago. And I started asking myself, why do we have such a disparity in terms of the look and feel, the services that are offered in this particular, in Heathrow compared to JKIA. Until another day, I found myself at Schiphol in Amsterdam. And I was like, I thought Heathrow now ndio ilikuanga mambo yote.
Yeah.
Nikaona Schiphol, Amsterdam, and I was like, no, something needs to be done. I found myself at Logan International in Boston. And I was like, what are we saying? What are we doing as a country? And I remembered all the leaders that have been living in Kenya going to all these places. We've had presidents from President Kenyatta all the way to President Moi, to President Kibaki, to President Uhuru Kenyatta, to President Ruto. And I'm thinking, what? 60 years of independence?
This is where we are. And
we are still in this, whatever this is. Yeah. So well, at in 2020, was it last year? When Larry Mado was showing the airports leaking.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're in 2024, na airport in a leak. Airport.
International airports.
Nikunoma.
You know, the challenge, you know, by the way, the challenge that we have as a country, and we must admit and also try to understand, is that some of these government agencies, corporations, and so forth, they really need real investment in them. Real investment in them.
Right.
And actually, those people, most of the people and the operations in these corporations, our leaders, the people we've put in charge, most of them, I think they have not given their best in ensuring that these state corporations, they are working the way they are supposed to work. And that is the reason why we were asking the other day, like, what is the solution? And you see, if today atungekuwa na Chinese in the construction of the railway.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Mpaka sasa tungekuwa tumebaki katika ile status yenye tulikuwa. Unakumbuka ile train ya kitambo wewe?
Nakumbuka.
Have you ever boarded it?
Unajua ilikuwa imekuwa simiti hapa chini.
Have you ever
boarded it? I've boarded. The floor was actually simiti. Yes.
Na pia iko na cracks all over, like you look at the maintenance, things are not just well, we must appreciate, by the way,
pali tumetoka like this private partnerships with these other organizations. Yes.
By the way, inasaidia sana. So Adani, of course I know it is mad with a lot of issues.
Yeah.
But if we could be able to get somebody who can be able to help,
other than Adani,
improve. Yes, other than Adani, because Adani already has gotten into bad books with Kenyans. Yeah, so other than him, if we could be able to get people from the private sectors, and of course now the issue is the contract. What is the agreement in those contracts, which should be put in the public, like people need to understand, so that awata kuja kupinga. Most of the time, if you don't involve people,
yes,
that is the reason why watakuja wanapinga. They don't understand where you are heading to.
Tuongee na mwenye alitengeneza Qatar International Airport. Nasikia they did an awesome job there. Yes.
So somebody was telling me, hii kitu sisi tumepinga sana Adani. And this is someone from Jordan. And he was telling me, even in their country, their airports were given out na zikatengenezwa na muda ambao walikuwa wanatakiwa kukaa na the private company unaenda kuisha, unakaribia kuisha, so they'll be taking back now but with modern with modern infrastructure, facilities, everything modernized. So okay, tutapinga na bado tunaendelea, tutakuwa tunalia kwamba tukienda airport sijui the roofs are leaking, sijui hakuna nini, sijui systems are so slow, and so forth.
Okay. Before we go to the next story, tuangalie traffic, what's happening on the roads of Nairobi right now. There's light traffic because it's just 6:32. Nothing much to report as far as the roads are concerned, but let's check nonetheless. Nikiangalia watu ambao wako Mlolongo, coming from Kitengela, amna shida yoyote, no one is complaining at all. Traffic is moving really well. Ukikaribia pale Agol, people actually call this hotel Agile. But let me tell you, because I met with the MD there, the general manager rather, it's not called Agile Hotel. It's called Ago Grand Hotel. So that particular area is looking good at this particular minute. As you're heading towards Imara Daima, ukipita huko GM nini, mko sawa. Approaching Next Gen Mall, mko fiti. Enda mpaka the Nairobi West Hospital, that is as you're approaching Nyayo, mko sawa. Naangalia Langata Road, nothing to complain about. All the way from Ongata Rongai, huko mko fiti, no complaints at all. Yes, as you're heading into town, saizi vitu ziko tu nywe. What is happening on your end of the road?
Well, most of the roads they are quite okay. Bado ni mapema, and especially Ngong Road, but ukifika pale ukifika pale Junction, that is what I'm seeing. Junction ni pale ambapo kuna little traffic. Ukifika pia Prestige, as you get to town, that is community, pale pia kuna traffic. Ukitoka sides za Isili, I'm seeing the roundabout pale ambao ni ya Kariakoo, that is where I'm seeing a little snarl up. Ukitoka sides za Jogoo Road, ukifika the junction of, is it Likon Road, this barabara inatoka industrial area, yeah, ukifika hapo kuna a little snarl up. Pia ukifika sides za City Stadium, also kutoka City Stadium actually kuingia town, we have traffic hapo.
Okay.
Pia tukienda upande wa Thika Super Highway, Thika Road, kuanzia pale Ngara ukiingia town, kuna little traffic, and of course by the kule sides za Roysambu pia I'm seeing a little snarl up.
Okay.
Kule by the way jam inaanza kubuild up mapema. Yes.
All right. So anything on the roads that you think we should know, please find us on Radio Gen KE, that is on Twitter. Meanwhile, still back to the stories that are making headlines. There's one here about President Trudeau. And this one he said yesterday, enough is enough. We'll restore order, whatever it takes. So, President William Ruto has come out strongly against leaders he accused of orchestrating the chaos witnessed during the recent Sabasaba protests, warning that the government will not allow further destruction, violence, and lawlessness in the country. Speaking on Wednesday in Kilimani, Nairobi, Ruto said that the protests had been turned into a campaign of destruction with private property looted, businesses attacked, and lives lost. Acts he directly linked to political incitement and mobilization of the youths. And the president condemned the violence, accusing unnamed leaders of funding and inciting youth to cause destruction and undermine national stability. So this is a situation. President alisema it's okay for cops to shoot you in the foot, if you're going to be causing chaos.
Yeah.
Something that we have mentioned here. We've said instead of shooting someone in the head.
Actually, I tend to believe
chest.
ni kama alipata hiyo clip yetu.
Ni kama alikuwa anatusikiza
alipata hiyo clip yetu.
Yeah.
Because that is the message.
Anasikizanga
instead
the
of
people's breakfast.
Yes, instead of you shooting somebody, killing somebody.
Right.
By the way,
yes.
Come to think of it, mguu ni afadhali, but still
tusishoot. But unajua pia karao anaweza kuwa aim at your foot, then because of the recoil,
yes,
the bullet gets to your stomach or chest or even head.
It happens
because at a distance, even a small change in the angle of inclination of a gun, that can really mess you up. Yeah. So the president has said that he's not going to allow people to overthrow the government, in very many words, of course. And anasema watu wana sponsor destruction. When we sat here with Wakili Joshua, he said that there are certain vipengele katika constitution that protect the state against such kinds of acts. Such kinds of destruction. And also he said the state is protected against marches towards places like Parliament, State House, protected areas. Even going to a place like DOD, that is a Department of Defense, where you might go and get into that armory and steal the weapons that are in there. And he said, by the way, the state can use that constitution that we so much talk about, when we're talking about freedom of picketing and freedom of kuenda kwa streets and so on and so forth. Akasema the same state can actually use it if it wanted to disarm these so-called protesters. And I agree with him. I agree with him to this extent. And I've been saying this. And eventually we will have to sit down and consider this particular what are they called, options. Mambo ya kuenda kwa streets where we are seeing people dying every now and then, that one needs to stop.
It's not a solution.
You
are saying it's not a solution.
It needs to stop. We cannot do things the same way over and over again expecting different results. Because if we're being honest, wale watu walikuwa ile maandamano yenye ilianza last year June, there's no new tactic. It is the same.
It's the same.
And we've had dozens of protests since then.
But Mungala, the first demonstration, the protest that the Gen Zs did was so peaceful.
Exactly.
It was so peaceful. It's only that
and when someone discovered that these people are a force to reckon with, they're being peaceful,
they took advantage.
Hawana noma na mtu. Mtu akarealize, hii ni noma si noma. Wakasema tufanye nini? Wacha tuingie pale,
yes,
tuvuruge. But watu ambao wanafanya maandamano hawaja change mienendo, sababu wale watu ambao mnaandamania wameshaona na wameona hao wenyewe wamechange tactic. Sasa nyinyi mnafanya the same thing expecting different results. If today you come to the streets again, I'm telling you, we shall be talking about X amount of people dead.
I like what the advocate Wakili Jana said. The issue of the changing of tactics. He gave us a story of how they were able to reclaim the Taifa Stadium. Is it a park? deaths that we have experienced in the country, that is not something anyone is happy about.
Why you are conversations there? There's Telegram, there's WhatsApp, there's there's Facebook Live, there's Instagram Live, there's TikTok. They can have their messages there. Like yesterday, you saw hashtag we are all Kikuyus was trending.
Yeah,
that is a way of demonstrating, and that is a way of being heard. Yeah, they can come to a station like this one. We hosted Pigeon here just the other day. Odimwengu. Pigeon ni Gen Z na aliongea na akasema kinye alisema kikamtoka kwa roho. Akipata nafasi kwa any other station and pia kuongea. The youths can actually even organize in their own communities. They have town halls, yeah? Every constituency, every ward, mko na ka space Kenya hata kama ni field, mahali mnaweza patana. Na hold discussions there as young people and you chat a way forward. Yeah? You remember when they were saying they're partyless, leaderless and tribeless?
Yes.
That is a perfect opportunity to demonstrate that. We can have meetings in Kiambu. We can have meetings in Turkana. We can have meetings in Mandera. They can have meetings in Mombasa, Lamu, Kilifi, wherever. Kwale, uko kwote. Waketi, waseme, this conversation ya leo Monday, we want to talk about governance. Conversation ya if they want to have it every Monday. Conversation ya next Monday, we shall be talking about youth leadership. Conversation ingine tutakuwa tunaongea juu ya unemployment and how we are going to empower ourselves. I feel like that is a more effective way than coming to the streets and throwing stones.
It is a more effective way, but the question is, who is listening to you?
You see, they don't need anyone to listen to them because
they need, they're agitating for somebody, and there's somebody who is leading whatever they're agitating for.
The moment they have those meetings, of course they will document them. How will they document them? Through videos, through pictures, and through articles online.
Alafu.
And then, of course, kuna wenye wanasoma, including our very own president.
Yes.
Atasoma wane youths wa Turkana waliketi na wakasema hivi na wakaamua hivi ndivyo direction watachukua. Youths wa Kilifi waliketi wakafanya hivi na wakasema. Youths wa Mandera, unadhani president apatangi hizi vitu? He might not be able to read everything, but the most critical ones he will see. Because he has NIS. Akina Nurdin Haji watamwambia, Your Excellency, this is what is happening in Turkana. Yes.
Okay, I will tell you. I will tell you for a fact that our leaders need just to listen to these people. Before people get to the streets, people already talked. So my only point is the leadership of the country just needs to listen to the people. And again, also the people wakienda wasikuwe watu wanataka microwave things. You want things to happen there and then. You need to understand if it is an issue of employment, right? Okay, tumekuwa tukiona government by the imepeleka, tumeona efforts being made by the government about employment and so forth. Well, that is, hiyo ni sign kwamba kuna kitu wanafanya, si ni sawa, and then we appreciate that. It's only that now they need just to up the game in terms of creating employment for the young people. They just need to up the game and also communicate well to their people, because I think those are some of the issues that, and again, the issue of tulisema the issues za police brutality, yeah, you don't need to be like, hiyo ni kitu kila mtu anaona na ni kitu tumeona. The numbers have really increased. Yes. And actually tumeona most of the people ambao wanajipata katika hizi issues, unapata pengine ni watu ambao wanaongea katika, if you are of a decent voice, of course you land yourself in problems,
right?
So when we say like we want these people to go and maybe have those alternative options, sawa, like tuende tuongee kule kwa social, tuongee wapi, and then when you go and try to challenge, you still find yourself in
problems.
So me, what I would tell the government, please, after you have had, because you really know what these people are agitating for, try to look for strategic ways of communicating to these people. Tell us that the progress, kama ni stories za employment, tumefikia hapa and this is what we are planning next. Kama ni story za police brutality, like Kenyans wanataka kuona, like for example somebody aliua na tuliona, tunataka tuone justice. Ukishafanya zile vitu, I don't think that people really need to go back to the streets, because kwenda to the streets ni kama tunaendelea kuongezea pressure on what we already have.
Ni kweli. I wanna tell you who did what I've just explained and how effective it was for them. I'll just mention I think about 4 names.
Yes.
We have Martin Luther King. on top of, you know, the walks they did in the streets of America, they actually had town hall meetings. All right. Malcolm X actually was killed at a town hall meeting while talking to the people because it was very effective. Marcus Garvey, all the way from Kingston, Jamaica, also did the same thing, and it was very effective. Then last but not least, also another person from Jamaica, Bob Marley, used to organize concerts, and his music, his songs were the message, and people used to listen. And that is why he was feared, yes, by the powers that be, because alikuwa na speak the truth, na alikuwa naambia watu ukweli, na watu wakishaanza kusikia ukweli, internally mnaanza kujichange. And that is why the biggest weapon that Kenyans have is 2027. Period.
Yeah. So now we wait for 2027.
Tuangalie gazeti.
As young people, mjipange na kura. Mwende muamue kule kwenye ballot, mseme mnatakaje, but as of now, of course, of overthrowing the government.
That one is unconstitutional. That one is very unconstitutional. And it won't fly.
Well, I saw people like the former DP. They responded. Wakisema nobody wants the president out, by the way, unconstitutionally.
Yes.
So, nakumbuka wakisema pale, like, let us wait for 2027. Tupatane pale kwenye debe.
Speaking of former DP,
yes,
that is Rigathi Gachagua, who is now the DCP leader. This is what he said. I saw Ruto wailing uncontrollably with anger, but I tell him that anger is not the solution. Just relax. No leader wants to overthrow you. No one has the capacity. We want to humiliate you from the ballot in 2027. Now, this is according to the Standard. That's on the front page. And this is what the Standard is saying. The president losing it. Legendary poet T.S. Eliot wrote that men who are unaffected by death or despair are hollow. Today, as Kenya teeters on the brink of anarchy, many see those haunting words in their head of state. When the nation cried for a father, he answered with fury. When the bereaved wept, he backed orders as bullets tore through bodies and grief swept across the country. Now, the president remained unmoved, neither mourning with those left bereft, nor addressing the chaos consuming the country. In a moment demanding humility and healing, he chose power and punishment, ordering police to shoot rioters. That story is on page 4. And they have quoted the president. Anyone burning down someone else's business and property should be shot in the legs so that they will pass through the hospital as